Καλησπέρα. Νέος πρόεδρος για τις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες, νέα εποχή για μια παγκόσμια υπερδύναμη, καινούρια σελίδα για μια χώρα που θεμελιώθηκε στην υπόσχεση ότι κάθε πολίτης της θα έχει τις ευκαιρίες να πραγματοποιήσει το όνειρό του για μια καλύτερη ζωή. Ο νέος πρόεδρος, ο Μπαράκ Ομπάμα, είδε το λεγόμενο αμερικανικό όνειρο να εκπληρώνεται με την εγκατάστασή του στο Λευκό Οίκο. Τις πρώτες μέρες στο Oval Γραφείο τον περίμεναν ανάμεσα στα άλλα και τα νέα στατιστικά στοιχεία για την ανεργία. Όταν σε μια χώρα όπως οι Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες ο αριθμός των ανέργων πλησιάζει τον πληθυσμό της Ελλάδος, όταν τα εργοστάσια κλείνουν το ένα μετά το άλλο, όταν οι πωλήσεις των αυτοκινήτων παγώνουν και οι τρεις μεγάλες αυτοκινητοβιομηχανίες ζητούν κρατικό δάνειο για να αποφύγουν την οικονομική καταστροφή, τότε ένα είναι σίγουρο, ότι το αμερικανικό όνειρο για εκατομμύρια ανθρώπους εξελίσσεται σε εφιάλτη. Απόψε στην Εμπόλεμη Ζώνη, ένα ντοκιμαντέρ για τους τρεις μεγάλους του Ντιτρόιτ.
Day breaks in the east, and a mighty army rises. Not an army marching to the deep and desolating roar of shells, but a mighty army of builders who go forth accompanied by the whistles from America's greatest factories, while their giant smokestacks right across the skies promise of a new prosperity, in a land where that prosperity brings a fuller life to every man who labors and who serves. And as each builder marches forth to shape his destiny, tens of thousands more go with him side by side, and so each one is multiplied. And thus America has grown from the combined services of those who plan, create, and build, each day serving better, earning more, and building greater values than can be found in any other nation of the world. The clarion call of industry sounds good morning to America's manpower. As dawn comes out of the east and spreads down the quiet streets, the clans gather in a score of cities. In thousands of homes, vigorous workmen rise to meet a new day and a new opportunity. The morning sun stirs the nation's workmen, prompting them to their posts of daily service.
My name is Paul Naraki and I'm 59 years old. I knew that the economy was difficult, but I did not at all expect to be let go. And even if I had even anticipated that as a possibility, I wouldn't have expected it to happen so suddenly.
Follow the eastern sun as it rises on the homes of men along the great Atlantic seaboard. The morning light over the plains has waked the thousands who are off to enliven the factories of the vast Midwestern states. And along the sunny shores of the Pacific, men are on their way to quicken the beat of industry. In 12 great cities, located in every region of the country, the clans are gathering for the work of a new day.
I initially had thought of coming to New York and handing my resume out on the street. My daughter said to me, if you just hand the papers out on the street, people will think you're giving out lunch menus or something. She said, why don't you make a sign so people will know what it's about? I was director of operations for, it's a wholesale toy company, and I was director of operations. Everything on it is true. When I say I'm almost homeless, that's true, because if I don't get work soon, I won't be able to pay my mortgage and I will be out of my home, you know. So that's true. My wife, it says on my sign that my wife is partially disabled and that she is taking 15 medications. That's true, you know. I put it on there to get attention. And it did. It got attention from the people I was looking to get attention from, people that were asking for my resume to give to someone for a job. Well, I have nothing else to do but look for a job. That's what this is about, you know, is to look for work. I've been around a long time. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president here when I was a small child. It was shortly after World War II. America was booming. People had a quality of life that was just improving day by day. I mean, we made such tremendous strides for so many years, you know, and now all of a sudden, well, as an example, like in the auto industry, I know that's an industry now that's having problems. There were people who worked their whole life, who worked, you know, older than me, who worked their whole life, who were retired, who are getting retirement benefits. The auto industry now is going to go to those people and say, oh, you have to give that up. You have to give some of that up, because if you don't, we're going to go out of business and you're going to have nothing. That makes me angry.
Along the main current of the assembly lines, light falls across men spreading to their stations. The stillness of the factories breaks. The tramp of many feet makes way for the rhythmic hum of smooth spinning machinery. Under the guidance of skilled workmen, comfort and speed and safety are built into motor cars for all America. All that fine automobiles are made of, all that the builders need, is ready for assembly. America is at work.
I mean, they've closed a lot of plants and laid off a lot of people, you know, in the last 5 or 6 years because of their restructuring. I'm Walter Powell. I'm 59, and I have a son and a son-in-law that just recently left their jobs at the auto industry. I have a daughter who is still working there, but she's uncertain about her position at Chrysler. Over the last 4 years, I'd say since 2004, I had been working at GM and Chrysler. I had let go from a contract at GM because of reductions in the workforce.
People with lower seniority, they might get laid off if they can't be placed anywhere. It's not there's not a lot of places where they can be placed right now. So they will have to get laid off, and some of them might get laid off before Christmas. So I'm kind of happy that I am out of there, but still I wish I had somewhat of a job right now. I placed the bumper shields on the Ford Focus, and I secured the pencil bracket onto the bumper fascia. My name is Teresa Renee Coleman. My age is 31 years old. I used to work for Ford Motor Company for the past 7.5 years. I recently took the buyout in June of this year.
Well, they came early November. They came and said, hey, they want to cut 25% of the workforce. Okay. Now, what's different is that they said that they would offer the package to everybody. And whoever took the package, they would allow them to leave. You know, either take the buyout now and leave with something, or later be forced out and leave with nothing. And my name is Tafuri Brent. I was a Chrysler employee for 13 years. 5 years I worked in management, upper middle management, if you may, for Chrysler Corporation. I am now a severed employee of Chrysler, ex-employee of Chrysler. I took the buyout in November 26.
Το Δεκέμβριο του 2008, στην πολιτεία του Μίσιγκαν, η ανεργία έφτασε το 10%. Είναι το υψηλότερο ποσοστό στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες. Το 1/3 του ενεργού πληθυσμού της πολιτείας εργάζεται στη βιομηχανία αυτοκινήτων. Η ιστορική πρωτεύουσα των τεσσάρων τροχών είναι η λεγόμενη Motor City, το Ντιτρόιτ, η πιο φτωχή μεγάλη πόλη της Αμερικής. Στο Ντιτρόιτ έχουν την έδρα τους 3 παγκόσμιοι κολοσσοί του αυτοκινήτου: η General Motors, η Chrysler και η Ford. Τις αποκαλούν με ένα όνομα: The Big Three, οι Τρεις Μεγάλοι. Ο Walter, η Τερέζα και ο Ταφούρη εργάζονταν σε αυτές τις εταιρείες. Σήμερα είναι άνεργοι. Η πρόσφατη οικονομική κρίση λένε ότι χτύπησε στη ραχοκοκαλιά της αμερικανικής βιομηχανίας. Χτύπησε τους Τρεις Μεγάλους. Η κάθετη πτώση στις πωλήσεις αυτοκινήτων, η κατάρρευση των μετοχών τους και η έλλειψη ρευστότητας οδήγησαν τον Νοέμβρη τους διευθυντές των τριών μεγάλων αυτοκινητοβιομηχανιών ενώπιον του Αμερικανικού Κογκρέσου, ζητώντας $34 δισεκατομμύρια για να σωθούν. Οι Τρεις Μεγάλοι, με εργοστάσια σε ολόκληρο τον κόσμο, με πωλήσεις που κάποτε ξεπερνούσαν τα 10 εκατομμύρια αυτοκίνητα, με μερίδιο 70% στην αγορά των τεσσάρων τροχών παγκοσμίως, βρέθηκαν στο χείλος του γκρέμου.
It used to be that our approach to our customers was, if you build it, they will come. Now, we are aggressively matching production to meet the true customer demand.
We've identified approximately $4 billion of potential cost savings and improvement.
We're here today because we made mistakes, which we're learning from, because some forces beyond our control have pushed us to the brink.
Ως το τέλος του 2008, ο κίνδυνος να χαθούν 3 εκατομμύρια θέσεις εργασίας μόνο από το χώρο της αυτοκινητοβιομηχανίας βρέθηκε στην ατζέντα με τα μεγαλύτερα προβλήματα που καλείται τώρα να λύσει ο νέος πρόεδρος των Ηνωμένων Πολιτειών.
At this moment of great challenge for our economy, we cannot simply stand by and watch this industry collapse. Doing so would lead to a devastating ripple effect throughout our economy.
You are about to witness the very exciting story of a city and its people. It will be an adventure that will open new sights in familiar surroundings. It is a story of a city seeking new horizons in a resolute contest with great challenges. That city is Detroit, home of nearly 2 million people. Frequently called the most cosmopolitan city of the Midwest, Detroit today stands at the threshold of a bright new future, one rich with the promise of fulfillment. The city on the straits welcomes you to share that vision as it continues to plan, to build, and yes, to dream.
Η Ford, η Chrysler και η GM μετέτρεψαν τον Ντιτρόιτ στην παγκόσμια πρωτεύουσα των τεσσάρων τροχών. Στις αρχές του αιώνα, η 11η μεγαλύτερη πόλη στις ΗΠΑ είδε τα πρώτα αυτοκίνητα να διασχίζουν τους δρόμους της. Τη δεκαετία του 60 έζησε ένα οικονομικό θαύμα. Στις αρχές του 21ου αιώνα βρίσκεται στην παρακμή και βλέπει τις στρατιές των ανέργων να πυκνώνουν. Η μοίρα των τριών μεγάλων είναι συνυφασμένη με την ίδια την επιβίωση του Ντιτρόιτ.
Directly in front of us is the GM Plaza and Riverwalk, built by General Motors as part of their amazing investment in the city of Detroit, the 11th largest city in the United States.
The Ambassador Bridge to your right opened in 1929 and extends approximately 1 3/4 miles across the river. To your left is the Island Park of Belle Isle, home to the largest yacht club in the country and the site of the annual Detroit Grand Prix.
The name for our restaurant was inspired by the partnership between General Motors and my company and the impact the auto industry has had on our great city.
Λένε στην Αμερική ότι το Ντιτρόιτ έφτιαξε τα αυτοκίνητα και τα αυτοκίνητα έφτιαξαν το Ντιτρόιτ. Η General Motors, η Chrysler και η Ford ξεκίνησαν από εδώ για να κατακτήσουν τον κόσμο.
We've been manufacturing cars in Detroit now for more than 100 years, and certainly in the early part of the 20th century, Detroit became known as the Motor City, the city that put the world on wheels. Henry Ford started the Ford Motor Company in 1903, and it was the third company that he had started. General Motors was originally chartered in 1908, and eventually, over the course of the next 10 to 15 years, actually grew by consolidating many smaller manufacturers under them. Walter Chrysler himself had his origins actually at General Motors. The stock market crash in 1929 started this kind of domino effect of companies going under. The big three themselves, obviously they got the size of the companies, they were significantly weakened by the Great Depression, and while they continued to still manufacture automobiles during that time, obviously, sales were not tremendous. And to be honest, it really wasn't until the United States entered the Second World War that the economy and the manufacturing that was done by the big three really started to truly recover.
It's the show for 1944 with emphasis on air-mindedness. The industries of Detroit join with the Army in the Army Air Show at the Detroit Airport. That's the GM exhibit there, for instance, marked by the glistening tent. Crowds pack jam the show every day. Here's Cadillac's M5 tank, Pontiac's anti-aircraft gun, Oldsmobile's automatic aircraft cannon, and here's Packard and Hudson. Ford presents the amphibious Jeep. And here's the Ford assembled Liberator bomber, powered by Buick and Chevrolet-built Pratt & Whitney engines. These young ladies show keen interest in the Liberator. It's just like the one their Tom and Dick and Joe are using to blast the jets. General Motors, one of the largest producers of firepower, aviation power, and aircraft, is well represented. Chevrolet is here, and so is the Diesel Pancake. Fisher Body shows the General Sherman tank, one of the meanest weapons on tracks.
After the Second World War, then the companies, began to grow significantly in that immediate aftermath of the war, when there was a lot of pent-up demand for automobiles. And so, the late 40s and the early 50s became, a huge period of growth. And Detroit itself, as a city, hit its peak population during the 1950s, actually became a city of about 2 million people.
This Tuesday morning of November 23rd, 1954, as down from aloft swings the golden body of a car that's been 46 years in the making. A car that marks a proud feat of the teamwork of American productive achievement, unmatched anywhere at any time. The manufacture by the people of one company of 50 million motor cars. This is achievement. Achievement by a great nation, by the 160 million free people of that nation. For to the cooperative efforts of the men and women of General Motors working together must be added the work of the countless thousands who supply GM, and the countless tens of thousands who supply them, and the thousands of dealers and salesmen and servicemen who sell and care for GM products. 50 million cars. So hoist those flags on high, blow those whistles, and start that parade.
certainly the automotive industry and its success has been a key part of, a lot of the quality of life that is experienced by the residents of Metro Detroit. The big three have been, big players in the foundation and the formation of the cultural attractions in this area. All those places would not exist without the support of the big three and the supplier community that has grown up to supply the automotive industry. And when they sneeze or when they have a cold, the whole area gets sick.
Τα αρνητικά μηνύματα της αγοράς για την αμερικανική βιομηχανία αυτοκινήτων ήρθαν πολύ πριν την πρόσφατη οικονομική κρίση. Το 2005 οι Τρεις Μεγάλοι του Ντιτρόιτ ανακοίνωσαν για πρώτη φορά ζημιές, απώλειες κερδών και περικοπές. Τότε έθεσαν σε εφαρμογή το πρόγραμμα εθελούσιας εξόδου. Στόχος τους η σταδιακή μείωση του προσωπικού σε ποσοστό από 10 έως και 25% μέχρι το τέλος του 2009.
The buyout is they give you monies to like do your seniority, cut your ties pretty much with Ford. I chose to take the money because I was moving to Florida. I'm just going to relocate. However, I became pregnant, and that's why I stayed up here, so we could be a family to raise my child. They gave us $100,000, but after taxes, it was maybe about 65, something like that, 68.
How many people got the buyout like you?
Wow. Probably about 1,000, maybe more.
And why did they offer to the employees the buyout?
Probably because they knew the economy, that was going to, be struggling. It was a lot. Maybe they thought they were going to be bankrupt.
I bought this house a little over 10 years ago in 1977, and been living here, with my wife and my daughter. There's a mortgage payment that's due on the first of each month. For the last 2 months, I have been able to scrape the payment together, but for December, I'm still having some problems getting the payment. So it's going to probably be late, and right now I'm not sure when I'll be able to pay it. Some of the other bills are starting to get behind too, since my layoff in October, early October. I was pretty satisfied in my job. Basically, I'm software development project manager. Since I've been doing software development, I would average somewhere between 80 and 90,000 a year. But over the last 2 years, because a lot of the projects didn't get funded, I haven't been able to work a full year. My wife, she's been out of work since March or April of this year. She was working for a leasing company, computer leasing. And of course, now as business starts to go down, these other types of companies, they lay off. So she hasn't been able to find work all year since March. So she's been out for the last 9 months.
So you're both unemployed now?
Yeah, both of us are out of work. So that makes it extremely more difficult, especially because it's very difficult to pay the bills now.
Mm-hmm.
It was like almost overnight. I mean, 1 minute we had no idea that they would want to cut an additional 25% this early. We know that companies are always trying to get leaner, especially in this industry. But we didn't think it was going to come, because I had just made it through three previous cuts. I think this is like the 4th cut, and it had nothing to do with performance. It wasn't about them keeping the best of the best. They were willing to take anyone who was willing to go. They were willing to let them go.
Not because you didn't go through anything, but
I was a process specialist. I worked for the paint component of Chrysler. I have a wife and 2 beautiful children, 14-year-old young lady named Chanel and an 8-year-old son named DJ. The purchase of non-essential goods, we had to cut that out. If it's not necessary, we're not buying it. Like, we would just go to the store and just buy all kind of stuff for the children, and I would just buy all kind of purses and shoes and jewelry for my wife. You know, I can't do that now. You just can't do it. You know, it's even, eating out. We don't eat out nearly as much. We used to eat out 2-3 times a week. You know, we don't eat out. We might eat out maybe once a week.
Το 2008, στην πολιτεία του Μίσιγκαν, χάνονται 100.000 θέσεις εργασίας. Σχεδόν οι μισές είναι από τις βιομηχανίες αυτοκινήτων. Η χρηματοπιστωτική κρίση δίνει τη χαριστική βολή στους Τρεις Μεγάλους του Ντιτρόιτ, που ξαφνικά αρχίζουν να φαντάζουν πολύ μικροί. 3 εκατομμύρια άνθρωποι που άμεσα ή έμεσα εργάζονταν για αυτές τις εταιρείες σε ολόκληρο τον κόσμο, αισθάνονται ότι υπάρχει ο κίνδυνος να βρεθούν στο δρόμο. Το φθινόπωρο του 2008, οι διευθυντές της GM, της Chrysler και της Ford ζητούν τη βοήθεια του αμερικανικού κράτους και μερικές δεκάδες δισεκατομμύρια δολάρια.
This is all about a lot more than just Detroit. It's about saving the U.S. economy from a catastrophic collapse.
We must join our competitors today in asking for your support to gain access to an industry bridge loan that would help us navigate through these difficult economic crises.
We're asking for assistance for one reason, to address the devastating automotive industry recession caused by our nation's financial meltdown.
Στο Κογκρέσο ξεσπά πόλεμος μεταξύ Δημοκρατικών και Ρεπουμπλικάνων για το ποιος ευθύνεται για τα προβλήματα των Τριών Μεγάλων και ποιος τελικά πρέπει να πληρώσει τα σπασμένα.
We simply cannot ask the American taxpayer to subsidize failure.
My concern with such an approach is that it plays Russian roulette with the entire economy of the United States.
I don't trust the car company's leadership. I worry that if they're left on their own, they'll be back a short time later asking for more.
In school, the teachers we hated most were the teachers who said if one person misbehaved, the whole class would get extra homework. I don't want to give the whole country extra homework because automobile executives in the past misbehaved.
Κάποιοι γερουσιαστές και προενεργαζόμενοι ρίχνουν την ευθύνη για την κατάσταση στις αυτοκινητοβιομηχανίες στα υψηλόβαθμα στελέχη των εταιριών και τις επιλογές τους τα τελευταία 20 χρόνια.
I would call them a bunch of idiots. We'll call them idiots. Why? Because they made some poor decisions in the 90s that have negatively affected us right now. In the 90s, many of us told them, do not over-invest in the SUV market. Do not over-invest in the light, heavy, and medium-sized truck market. Do not abandon the small and medium-sized car market, idiots. You know, but they chose to do that because they were greedy. They were short-sighted. You see, they lacked the wisdom, you know, and the business acumen to foresee the possibility of energy prices escalating to such a level that, you know, the average consumer couldn't afford to buy trucks and minivans, you know, those big engine vehicles. That's an idiotic decision. They should have seen it coming. The Asians did. The Germans did. Okay? Toyota saw it. Honda saw it. You guys don't bet anybody. Gas prices in Europe have been high as heck forever. You guys don't know anything about a dollar per gallon, do you? You know, so come on. We knew it was coming. Everyone knew it was coming, but leadership.
Mr. Chairman, I do not agree with those who say we are not doing enough to position GM for success. What exposes us to failure now is not our product lineup, is not our business plan, is not our employees and their willingness to work hard, is not our long-term strategy. What exposes us to failure now is the global financial crisis.
No, it's not just the economic crisis. The economic crisis has played a big part, okay? Without question. It has played a big part. The fact that folks can't get loans, that the common citizen can't get a loan to buy a vehicle. You know, the fact that the economic or the financial institution crunch was so bad, or the credit crunch was so bad that the corporations had to end leasing programs, you know, so that did play a part. But that wasn't the only variable that led to us being in this situation as an industry, okay? A lot of it had to do with poor leadership, short-sightedness, stupidity and ignorance and arrogance.
Η ιστορική εμφάνιση των τριών μεγάλων αφεντικών του αυτοκινήτου στο Κογκρέσο σημαδεύτηκε από μια αποκάλυψη που προκάλεσε αίσθηση και αντιδράσεις. Εν μέσω οικονομικής κρίσης, με το πρόγραμμα απολύσεων χιλιάδων εργαζομένων στο σιρτάρι και την εθελούσια έξοδο ήδη σε ισχύ, οι τρεις μεγάλοι διευθυντές πέταξαν για την Ουάσιγκτον με τα ιδιωτικά τους τζετ. Το κόστος της κάθε πτήσης υπολογίστηκε στα $20,000.
You're talking to people that are schlepping back and forth, going through all the drama in the airports every day, along with the American public. My suggestion is that those types of symbolic things, they really matter.
Going to ask you to raise your hand if you're planning to sell your jet in place now and fly back commercial. Let the record show no hands went up.
Όλοι έδειξαν να συμφωνούν όμως ότι η μεγαλύτερη πρόκληση ήταν και είναι τα αστρονομικά ποσά με τα οποία αμείβονται τα υψηλόβαθμα στελέχη. Ακόμη και την περίοδο που η εταιρεία τους καταγράφει μεγάλες απώλειες και ανακοινώνει χιλιάδες απολύσεις. Όταν δημοσιοποιήθηκαν αυτά τα στοιχεία, σε μια κίνηση να κερδίσουν τις χαμένες εντυπώσεις, οι τρεις διευθυντές δεσμεύτηκαν ενώπιον του Κογκρέσου ότι θα λάβουν το συμβολικό μισθό του $1 για έναν ολόκληρο χρόνο, αρκεί οι γερουσιαστές να τους εγκρίνουν το δάνειο που ζητούσαν.
These people, even though they're telling Congress that they'll take $1 a year pay, you know, the reality is their bonuses, you know, their stock options, you know, they still stand to make millions of dollars. And they've made so much money over the years, you know, tens of millions of dollars. They've made so much money while at the same time, you know, laying people off.
It is not proper because what is it based on? I mean, it's based on many times them achieving short-term goals as opposed to long-term stability for the company.
I feel saddened because my father, I retired from General Motors. He had like 32 years and he's only like 55 years old. So he's not even able, you know, to get his Social Security yet, you know. So if they went bankrupt, he wouldn't even get his pension, you know. So I feel for that as well as everyone else. And then I know this other young lady, she had retired from Chrysler. So the same thing with her, you know, if it went bankrupt or whatnot, then, you know, she wouldn't get her money. And, you know, they're living off a fixed income, you know, so what else are they to do?
Η απόφαση του Κογκρέσου στις 19 Δεκεμβρίου θα καθόριζε σε μεγάλο βαθμό όχι μόνο το μέλλον των τριών μεγάλων, αλλά και την τύχη 3 εκατομμυρίων εργαζομένων. Έπρεπε να βρεθεί μια χρυσή τομή, ώστε να εξασφαλιστούν οι θέσεις εργασίας με την επιβίωση των εταιριών, αλλά και να διατηρηθούν οι πολιτικές ισορροπίες. Η κρίση στις αυτοκινητοβιομηχανίες είναι αλληλένδετη με την οικονομική ύφεση που πλήττει τις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες. Η λύση δεν είναι να σωθούν οι καρέκλες των τριών μεγάλων αφεντικών, αλλά να εξασφαλιστούν οι χιλιάδες εργαζόμενοι. Όσο σημαντικό είναι το κρατικό δάνειο για τους τρεις μεγάλους, τόσο αναγκαίο είναι και για τους κατοίκους του Μίσικαν. Υπάρχουν γειτονιές στο Ντιτρόιτ που η παγκόσμια πρωτεύουσα του αυτοκινήτου μοιάζει περισσότερο με τριτοκοσμική επαρχιακή πόλη. Κλειστά μαγαζιά, άνθρωποι που κάνουν ό,τι δουλειά βρουν προκειμένου να επιβιώσουν, ζωές υποθηκευμένες στο ενεχειροδανιστήριο για κάτι λιγότερο από μια χούφτα δολάρια.
Part of your job?
Yeah, you can say that.
So what are you doing here?
Trying to get a little cash.
Cold.
Trying to get a little cash. Exactly.
So you're holding it and you just move it for the customers to grab their attention.
Right, exactly.
You work here?
No, not really. I'm just hustling. Yeah.
How much do you get for that?
Not much. About $7 an hour.
$7 an hour, $7 huh?
Yeah.
And for how long do you stay?
About 5 hours.
5 hours every day?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Not long. Not long. This gonna be on TV?
My name is Les Gold. I'm 58 years old. I've been doing this. I made my first sale 51 years ago. My grandfather was in the business. My father was in the business. I left my father in 1981, opened up my own, and started with 1,500 square feet. We have the largest pawn shop in the state. People come in and they bring their hard goods, everything other than jewelry, television, stereos, computers. We have a expert here that evaluates the merchandise as the customer brings it in, and they pawn it to us. They have 3 months to get it back. The interest rate in Michigan is 3% a month, plus $1 a month storage. We do approximately anywhere from 400 to 600 loans per day. Per day. So that means.
Have an increase?
Business has probably increased 15% just this year in the amount of loans that we take in. Redemption rate, though, which is very surprising, is about 80 to 85% of the people pick up the merchandise when it's, before the due date. So this represents 15% of the inventory that's left over.
Why'd you have an increase?
Well, right now the economy in Michigan is horrific. Layoffs, car industry. And it trickles down, when the car dealers and the car manufacturers don't sell the inventory or manufacture the inventory, nobody sells it, so they have an excess. They come to us anywhere from $10 to $20,000 that they need. Some people need money for gas. Some people need money, gas for their cars. When the gas prices were very high a few months ago, we saw a lot more people coming in for gas money. Now they're buying food and they're paying rent.
Gas.
So gas. Well, gas.
For $10?
Well, $10. They just need anything to put in their car. So they gave them 2 gallons of gas.
And what do they bring to you?
They'll bring me anything from a DVD movie to a Rolex watch and everything in between, whether it's a big screen TV, jewelry, DVD players, television sets, computers. They bring everything.
Cars?
Cars also. We have cars in the back. Okay, now we're going to go to the pawn shop. What you saw in the front was the retail end of it. Now you're going to see what they actually bring. They bring lots of things. Televisions. Ladders. Ladders. They bring everything. There's nothing that they don't bring me. This facility is 50,000 square feet, and it's filled from top to bottom. As you look down these rows of tools, you can see what actually they bring to me. Whether it's refrigeration gauges, you know, drills, bolt cutters, saws, chain falls. They bring in everything because people are desperate. And when you're desperate, there's nothing that you won't take, you know, that you won't bring to me. So desperation brings out the worst in people. So back there you'll see a 1965 Bentley, a 2004 Cadillac, a 2000 Mercedes, jet skis, trailers. You'll also see the winter equipment is down here ready to be sold. We sell a lot of snow blowers and stuff to get the snow off the ground. Our motto is if it has any value whatsoever, we take it. We'll take anything of value because there's always a customer for something. What is it? One man's garbage is another man's treasure, something like that. So that's you know, that's how we look at things. But as you look around, you know, we take in everything. Everything. There's nothing that we don't take. We've even taken in an alligator.
An alligator?
An alligator. Somebody wanted to sell an alligator, and we bought the alligator.
And did you sell it?
No, actually, we kept it for ourselves, but we fed it too much, and it passed away a year ago. But yes, I was very sad the day the alligator died. So we have big goldfish now that were supposed to be alligator food, so now they're our pets. My regular customer is still my regular customer, but because the people from the suburbs are in the same predicament as people in the inner city, right now you're seeing everybody. There is no variable. They're all coming to see us. Yeah.
Is it getting worse?
The economy is getting worse. And they project that the economy will get even worse yet. And it's kind of scary here. I see a lot of people leaving, and it's bad for the state of Michigan.
Impressive earring.
Thank you very much. It came out of pawn.
Really?
And I sell them out of my ear. You know, if I'm wearing it, people know that it's good. I sell. So,
is it the real thing?
Yeah, it is.
How many carats?
It's 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
How much you sell it?
You can buy it for $10,000 if you'd like.
Bailouts generally don't work, and this is a huge proposed bailout, and I fear it's just the down payment on more to come next year.
Στις 19 Δεκεμβρίου του 2008, το Κογκρέσο ενέκρινε δάνειο 17,4 δισεκατομμυρίων δολαρίων για τους Τρεις Μεγάλους. Ακριβώς τα μισά χρήματα από όσα είχαν ζητήσει οι διευθυντές του. Ο Τζορτζ Μπους υπέγραψε το δάνειο ως μια από τις τελευταίες του προεδρικές αποφάσεις. Ο νέος πρόεδρος της Αμερικής ίσως θα κληθεί σύντομα να αποφασίσει αν θα δώσει και τα υπόλοιπα χρήματα για τη σωτηρία των αυτοκινητοβιομηχανιών και των εργαζομένων τους. Με την ανεργία να καλπάζει στις ΗΠΑ, ο Μπαράκ Ομπάμα δεν έχει πολλές επιλογές.
Do they deserve the money? That's a good question. Wow. I don't think the taxpayers should have to pay for their mistakes. I don't feel that's right. No. But then again, I have other relatives and people that work there, so I don't want to say that, it's kind of like a 50-50 thing, but I don't think the taxpayers should have to pay all of that.
Over history, the auto industry has done its part for this country. Plus, when you think about it, the companies are nothing more than people. And yeah, the decisions that are made at the upper echelons of the company may not have always been, the best decisions.
I said GM and Chrysler should get, all three of them should get bailout money. I'm saying that the leadership should have to pay a price because I'm concerned about the common folk, the people on the floor, the people who work in those plants. I want them to get a bailout for that reason. But the leadership should be fired.
Ooh, if all three go down, it's gonna be over. Cause it's gonna be it's gonna take too much for them to get back up.
The big three, Ford is good. Ford will be around. Ford, they don't even need to buy out money.
What about the rest?
Chrysler is gone. I think they'll be gone. GM, it's hard to say. Large cap company, number one in European automotive sales, right?
I mean, we've lost, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands of, jobs which have helped to, build a middle class in this state. And without those jobs, it becomes very difficult.
Do you see light at the end of the tunnel, or you're afraid of what the future might bring?
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I do see a little bit of light. As I mentioned, I did have one job interview last week, and I got my application in at a bunch of other places. And so all I really need is for one of those to, materialize, and then, I'll be in a better financial position. I'm hoping that once the new president gets in, that the stimulus package and the help for the auto industry will open up more opportunities here in Michigan. But I'm still hopeful that, something will come up and allow me to, keep my home and feed my family.
It hurts every time you go to your bank and you're withdrawing instead of putting in other words. That's what I'm saying. So I wish I was able to put something in instead of always taking it out. Yeah.
How do you see the future for Ford and the others? What do you expect? What do you wish?
I wish that everything will get better than what it was before. They need to come out with newer, cars and fuel efficiency cars and everything like that. But hopefully everything goes well for all three of them.
I pray that they get the bailout. I pray that Chrysler reinvents itself. I pray that no more people lose their jobs. Now, what's the likelihood of that happening? Not very good.
When when you look around the city or almost anywhere, when you look around, you don't see the recession. You can't tell who is in trouble, who is out of work. When I put the board on and I made the recession visible to a lot of people. I mean, I never thought about this. I never realized this would be the result of this, but it made the recession suddenly a visible thing. You know, now when I put on the board, it just doesn't make me visible. It makes all these people who are unemployed visible too. All of a sudden, people came out of the crowd. It suddenly separated the groups. People would come up to me and they would tell me, you'll get through this, you know. I've been out of work for a year. You'll get through this. Once the media picked this up, I started getting emails and letters from all over the world, people from everywhere. You know, Montenegro, London, Japan, Spain. It's a global thing, and that's what it, it made me realize that this is a global recession, that we're in all this together, and that we belong to one community. Even though we're separate countries, we're one economic community, and we have to join together. We have, you know.
My partner and several others wish you a great evening and thank you for joining us at Social Fitness. We hope to see you again soon.